In the United States, we imprison people at a higher rate than any other country in the world, and every president dating back to Nixon has exacerbated the problem with their policies until President Obama came into office, and he started to reverse course. He started to pardon nonviolent drug offenders. But now that Jeff Sessions is Attorney General, he's trying to reverse what little progress President Obama made. According to CNN, Attorney General Jeff Sessions has a new directive for federal prosecutors across the country. Charge suspects with the most serious offense you can prove. Charging and sentencing recommendations are bedrock responsibilities of any prosecutor, and I trust our prosecutors in the field to make good judgment, Sessions said Friday at a news conference in Washington. They deserve to be unhandcuffed and not micromanaged from Washington. In a brief 1.5-page memo, Sessions outlined his new instructions for charging decisions in federal cases, saying that his new first principle is that prosecutors should charge and pursue the most serious, readily provable offense. The most serious offenses are those that carry the most substantial guideline sentence, including mandatory minimum sentences, Sessions later added. Now, I find what he's trying to do here contradictory because on one hand, he's saying, well, I have faith in our prosecutors. I don't think that we should try to micromanage them, and they should be able to prosecute criminals, at their own discretion. Yet, here he is trying to micromanage them and saying, we need to charge criminals with the most serious provable offense. Well, which is it? You can't have it both ways. Either you don't want to micromanage prosecutors and you want their hands unhandcuffed, or you are going to handcuff them and tell them to abide by your draconian directive. And you can't talk about this story without addressing the racial component. Mandatory minimums and, just tough on crime policies, generally speaking, always disproportionately harm people of color. And when you think about Jeff Sessions and his intentions, well, he's a racist. He's proven time and again that he's a racist, and if you don't want to take my word for it as someone who's a liberal, if you think I'm an SJW, which I'm not, but if you disagree with my analysis and my characterization of Jeff Sessions, then you should listen to the Reagan-era Republicans who voted against approving Jeff Sessions to be a judge because they thought that he was too racially insensitive. So the fact that studies and statistics shows that mandatory minimums and tough on crime policies disproportionately harm people of color, and given Jeff Sessions' horrible policies when it comes to race, we know his intentions. He's doing this because he knows this is a way that he can harm African Americans and Latinos, and for some reason, he has contempt for them. I don't know why that's the case, but he has contempt for them, and what he's doing will harm these communities, and it will also disproportionately harm the poor. Now, there's also a second component to this story besides Jeff Sessions' racism, and that is that there's money to be made, because in this country, we have a prison industrial complex where private prisons who contribute to the campaigns of politicians, they make money when we lock people up. So they don't like that Obama decided to start reversing course. And Obama, again, he made some progress. He took us in, the right direction, but certainly there's a lot more work to be done. But they didn't like that because when people are no longer in prison, these for-profit prisons lose money. And they don't like that. So what Jeff Sessions is doing is the bidding of Republican Party donors. So he's moving us in the completely opposite direction that we should be moving in. And this is a policy that hurts the poor. And intersectionality is certainly an issue because if you're poor and African American and Latino, you're going to be harmed by this the most. So this is something that should shake everyone to the core if you're worried about democracy, if you're worried about the marginalization of disadvantaged groups in the country. It's something that cannot stand. And mandatory minimums, again, it's not okay. This will exacerbate the problem of mass incarceration that each subsequent president after Nixon played a part in. I mean, even back to the Clintons, during Bill Clinton's administration, when he did his whole tough on crime bill, mass incarceration exploded. So this is not acceptable. And Jeff Sessions his agenda is insidious, and we see right through you, Jeff. We know you're a racist. We know that you're doing the bidding of the Republican Party's donors. And also, you get to lock up some African Americans and Latinos. So it's a win-win-win for Jeff Sessions. Sickening.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.